Okay, so this one is BC, correct. I got 15 minutes. Okay, let g of x equals this, find g prime. Okay, looks like quotient rule. So g prime of x equals the denominator times the derivative of the numerator minus the numerator times the derivative of the denominator over the denominator squared. And then I'm substituting in 3. So that's f of 3 times 2 times 3 minus 3 squared times f prime of 3 over f of 3 squared. Okay, so f of 3 according to the table is 4. So this is a 4 squared at the bottom. It's a 4 here. That's a 6. Minus 9. F prime of 3 would be negative 2. Okay, so this is 24 plus 18 over 16. So that would be 42 over 16, which is 21 over 8. Okay, use a left Riemann sum with 3 subintervals. Okay, so 1 to 9 with 3 subintervals. So the width is 8 to approximate the average value. Okay, first I'm going to do average value. So I'm going to do 1 over b minus a, so 9 minus 1, integral from 1 to 9 of f of x dx. Oh, I was like, how am I going to separate this? Okay, obviously separate it into the sections that they have. That was funny. I was a little panicked for a second. I was like, I don't want to use thirds. Okay, so we're going to use the sections that they have. Okay, so a Riemann sum, it says left Riemann sum. So for this section, I'm going to use this one. For this middle section, I'm going to use 3. And then for the right section, I'm going to use the 8. Okay. Okay, make sure you're in a quiet spot where no one can bother you. This is kind of intense. Okay, so area equals, but you guys can do a good job. So just remember, you just have to do better than other people because it is on a curve, okay? So 2 times f of 1, that's the left endpoint, plus the next width. So I usually call it width times height here for the area of each rectangle for those Riemann sums. The next one is 5, f of the left endpoint, which is 3, plus the next width is 1, and then f of 8. So that would be 1/8, 2 times f of 1. F of 1 is in the table, so f of 1 is 6, plus 5 times f of 3. F of 3 is 4. And f of 8 is 5. And then AP lets you leave it like this, but that would be hard for me, even though technically we should leave it like that. Okay, so this would be 37 over 8. Okay. Maybe parts? I feel like this is parts. Okay, so I like to use the table method for parts, so UDV. So UDV would be x, the derivative of x is 1, the derivative of 1 is 0, and then f double prime of x, antiderivative would be f prime, and the antiderivative of that would be f of x. Those aren't really hooked. So remember, you take antiderivatives this way, and you take derivatives this way. Now, most of your teachers will put the plus and the minus in the middle, but one of my students a long time ago said, hey, Miss Nichols, if you put it in the front, then it's easier to tell where the plus or minuses go. So I put them in the front. Okay. So this would be, the answer would be x, f prime of x, minus f of x. And then the next one would be 0. So that is the answer. Or you could just do regular integration by parts. I think you'd have to do it twice, though. But I was using the tabular method. So I think you definitely learned the tabular method in your in our class at Walnut. So this would be 8 f prime of 8 minus f of 8 minus parentheses 3 f prime of 3 minus f of 3. So 8 times f prime of 8. I'll have to look at the graph. Oh, it's a table, right? So yeah, definitely having this on 2 separate papers would be better. So f prime of 8 would be 3, minus f of 8 is 5, minus 3 times f prime of 3. F prime of 3 is negative 2. and f of 3 is 4. So you could leave it like this. If an Algebra 2 student could type it into the calculator, then you could be done. So you could be done there. Okay, so 19, and then that's minus negative 6 minus 4. So minus negative 10 would be 29. You're risking making an error if you keep going. So you should probably stop at the arithmetic step. So let me highlight the steps I should stop at, but it's just hard for me as a teacher to stop. I don't know why. Okay, but really you should stop here, and then you should stop right here. Okay, next part of the question. H of x equals, this looks like Leibniz. So, oops, let's see. This seems like, how would I finish in 15 minutes? No, because I'm only at 5. That's funny. So I'm pretty fast. That was weird. I'm only at 6 minutes. Okay. But I felt like E would be too long for this one, so that's kind of crazy. Okay, so let me go back to, I believe I'm on highlighter, so let me go back to pen. Okay. So, oh, this is Leibniz, but look, that's not just x. That's different. So we need to make sure we pay attention to that. Okay, so capital H prime of x, substitute in the top object times the derivative of the top object minus substitute in the bottom object times the derivative of the top object. Okay, so that's h prime of x equals 2x f of x squared. And then they also want h double prime of x. So h double prime of x, I would use the product rule. So that would be times f prime of x squared times the derivative of the inside 2x plus f of x squared times the derivative of the first, which is 2. So this is h double prime of x. This is h prime of x. Okay. Explain why h could not have a relative extrema or a point of inflection at x equals 3. Okay, that must be because it's not 0. So hopefully we get 0 here. So let's find h prime of 3. So h prime of 3 is 2 times 3 times f of 9. So 6 times, what's f of 9? It must not be 0. F of 9 is 2. So this is 12. So this is not 0, so no relative extrema. Okay. Now, because it's 0. And then h double prime. Now, it could also be undefined, but it's not undefined. So this would be 2 times 3 f prime of 9 times 2 times 3 plus f of 9 times 2. Okay, so what's f prime and what's f of 9? Okay, so f of 9 was 2. So this bottom one is, so this is what, 6 times f prime of 9. F prime of 9 is negative 1. So negative 1 times 6 plus f of 9, I forgot already, was 2 times 2. So that's negative 36 plus 4, which is negative 32, which is not 0, so no point of inflection. Has to be 0 or undefined. And then I'd write a little explanation if I could, but it says explain why it can't. So I mean, I guess I would just put since h double prime of x is not 0 or undefined. And then I would say the same thing, no relative extrema, because h prime of x is not 0 or undefined. Okay. This is a Taylor series. Okay. Geometric is on there, so maybe it's geometric. Yeah, it looks geometric. A is between 5 and 8. Okay, find the value of r when a is 8. Oh, f of a. Okay, so f of 8 equals, now remember, they have to ask this in unique ways. Okay, they have to ask this in unique ways because they don't want anyone to cheat. R to the n. Okay, I feel like it's geometric. Let's write out some terms. So that's 8 times r to the 0 plus 8 times r to the 1 plus 8 times r to the 2 plus, okay, so that's geometric, right? It's, let me change color so you can see better, but this is times r. So this is infinite geometric. And just kind of go with the flow. Remember, you're also looking for partial credit. You don't have to get all the points. So infinite geometric, the sum is a1 over 1 minus r. So that would be a1, which is this, which is 8 over 1 minus r. And that would be the sum. But you're like, what does that give me? Well, it says over here that that's f of 8. And f of 8 we know. I was like, how does that relate to the table? So f of 8 is 5. So this means this is 5. So I have 8 over 1 minus r equals 5. So cross multiply, 5 minus 5r equals 8. That would be negative 5r equals 3. R equals negative 3/5. Dang. Did I finish? 10 minutes. Oh, I could have some time to check my answers. Okay, so that was way too much fast thinking there. So I definitely would think that you would not have thought of E quite as fast as me. Okay, because I'm a teacher. And I wonder if I got it right, so I probably would check my answer because I do have time here. Okay, so let's see. So I'm thinking if R was, what, negative 3/5? So that would be 8. Oh, I'm in my wrong color pen. So this is 8 times negative 3/5 to the n. Okay, so that would be 8 times 1 if I plugged in 0, and 8 times negative 3/5, and then 8 times 9/25. That would be my geometric. So A1 is 8. And so I would do 1 over 1 minus negative 3/5. Eight over 1 minus negative 3/5. So maybe type that into my calculator. So 8 divided by 1 minus negative 3/5, which is 5. And is that what f of 8 was? 5? Huh? Who knew? Okay. Definitely strange. Definitely, I would say do not highlight, because highlighting, let me tell you, is extremely irritating as a grader. Okay, so highlighting is not a good idea. So I'm going to say this is the reason. No relative extrema because of that, and no point of inflection because of this. That's my answer. So don't highlight in the real test, but I'm just highlighting so you could see it. Okay. Oops. Let me undo that. And then change pen types. And definitely just use your regular pencil and have it all ready, because this is extremely irritating me changing all these colors. Okay, so this is this. We have an answer for that one. Is there a part E? No, that's the only page. That's it. That's it. Okay. So the end. I like that better than the exam question number 1, but you just got to go with the flow, okay? So just dive in and just try it. It's still on a curve, okay? So 50% is still going to be passing. So you don't have to get them all right. So don't panic. Do the best that you can, okay? Practice questions that you have. Stay flexible. And remember, you guys are awesome students. Because if this was a real AP, the old AP, like 70% of you would have gotten 5s on the BC test. You guys are studly. Okay, so just because this test is weird doesn't mean you're not still better than all the other countries, the students in the country. Okay, you guys are amazing. So don't let this break your confidence, because I could see where it would. You're like a little panicked. It doesn't look, it's like a combination of multiple choice and free response is what I feel like it is. So don't panic. Head down, do the work, pretend it's a real test, and just do the best that you can. I mean, obviously it's a real test, it's the AP test, but you're going to do better than everybody else as long as you don't panic. Okay, the other students at other schools didn't even learn all the material. And for BC specifically, lots of those students only learned AB this year, and then they went to BC. You guys have a huge advantage, okay? So don't panic, okay? Don't panic. Just do the best that you can, and it's an experience, right? Who else is going to be able to take this 2020 quarantine one, right? It's an experience. So try to enjoy it. Try to smile. Write fast. Have your calculator out. Not sure that packet of notes is going to be very helpful, because you're not going to really have time to look up things. So, but I think you guys know it all. So you guys are awesome. You guys have been preparing you all year for this. So the questions look very similar to the multiple choice and the free response. They just don't look similar altogether. Okay? Sounds good. So we're still within the 15 minutes, so that's good. And it did say somewhere that you didn't have to finish all the questions to pass. But 50% is passing. Probably this year 60% will be a 5 or something. So So don't worry, okay? And do your best.